Hi, my name's Suzanne Ellingham and I am the show director for Source Fashion. And we're here on site recording some really special podcast episodes with some of the amazing businesses that we're meeting on the show floor who are doing some really cool stuff. And one of the people we've met over the course of the show is Jordan Williams from Adversatile Artists.
That's right, yeah, Adversatile Artists.
And I think what's really great is we've been speaking a lot to really large businesses and people who've been buying and sourcing for 20, 30 years and consultants. But I think what's really great, and part of the reason we've invited Jordan to come and talk, is to get a perspective of how easy it is to source well and to build circularity in from the ground up when you're really starting out. So I'm super curious about lots of stuff that you're doing, Jordan. So I think we'll cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell me about where the business idea came from and what you're doing at the moment?
Sure. So Adversatile Artists, I started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And
Why did you start a fashion brand in the pandemic?
it started off as a production company. That was how it started. So I started off, my background before the pandemic was film and television.
Okay.
And then I started thinking about launching my own production company. I used to be a freelancer before that. And but I've always been multidisciplinary.
Okay.
So my approach to Adversatile Artists is doing multidisciplinary projects. Okay. And the fashion brand came as a result of planning the television show and also doing a music album as well. So the actual fashion brand is called Air, which is H-E-I-R, which is also the name of a rap album that I put out during the pandemic as well. And the fashion brand was a way for me to kind of start doing merchandise and monetize the brand. And things have just kind of evolved from there, to be honest with you. So I started off doing t-shirts, and then as and when I understood the market and how to evolve, then I've started to do tracksuits and jackets and hoodies and hats, and I've come to shows like Source where I've learned manufacturing and how to work with various factories, both local and offshore as well.
That's really good.
And it's gone from there.
Sorry, I interrupted and cut you off.
That's all right.
I think it's because the first thing I thought of is we're quite fortunate with Source that we do know quite a lot of large influences who came through.
Yeah.
So Molly Mae Hague would be one of them with her Maybe range. So I think most of us would know some of the challenges they had with the quality of the range when they put that back out.
Yeah.
And actually they were a team that came down and actually went through the show floor. We introduced them to some great manufacturers, and the second range was a lot better.
Sure.
And I think what I find quite interesting is a lot of it sounds like it's the range and the merchandise has grown out of the work that you do in the entertainment and with the work that you do. And a lot of influencers that we've met that have come through the show floor, they're just interested in the cheapest possible product.
Yes.
And putting out whatever will sell because they know if they put it out on their Instagram, they'll sell a few thousand units straight away to their audience.
Yeah.
Actually, it's so much more, it's so refreshing when we talk because that's not what you wanted to do. You wanted to build something that was actually quite responsibly made.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's been both for moral reasons, but also just as I was learning the business, it was changing in front of me. So as I said, I started during pandemic, and one of the first supply chains was print to order. That was the thing that was available to me, print to order and drop shipping. And doing that a few times, one of the issues I came up with was I can't check the quality before it gets to the customer. So, and that just disturbed me because that means I have to go the extra mile to make sure that they've got what they ordered. And if they haven't got what they ordered, I have to then go the extra mile to then make sure that I can fix the problem. I just thought, you know what, I need to make sure that I am manufacturing locally and where I can check the quality before it goes out. And also then in itself, I'm building a circular economy, and then just doing the research then led to me and finding, companies like Yodomo who do, they're a textile recycle hub, and the solution just made sense. It made sense.
So many people who listen to the podcast won't be as familiar with textile recycling and the Yodomo hub.
Yes.
So tell me, how did you come across it? And what's it been like working with that process? How has it differed from, actually, tell me about how you came across it.
Absolutely. I discovered Yodomo it would have been just a recommendation. And again, this is all post-pandemic. So post the pandemic, I made it my objective to be as on the ground as possible because we couldn't be on the ground. I started during the pandemic. I had to launch my business using the digital and online. As soon as things opened up, I thought I need to be as much events as possible and network as much as possible. And Yodomo would have been something that I just discovered through word of mouth originally through interview. And I'm from East London as well, which is where they're based. So it was just in the ether as and when it made sense for me to approach them. And even in working with them, again, it's all personable. It's people who have relationships with factories who are able to give them textiles at a fraction of a price, and then they're able to then sell it at a fraction of the price. And it's all high quality stuff. It's all stuff that is a result of too many high overproduction, and they found a solution to help brands like myself who are starting up to get access to quality materials, so that we got at least a chance to compete with some of the higher end brands also.
And I think we're seeing, and I would love to see more of this, because I think there's so much dead stock in terms of fabric, in terms of all more garments that are ready for remanufacture as well. But how have you, because storytelling is important, because I think for customers to understand that essentially, whilst you wouldn't necessarily frame it like this, but this is dead stock. This is things that is, as of next year under the new EPR legislation will be classed as waste.
Yes.
So actually, how have you built that into your brand story to let your customers know that this is from recycled textile, that this is reuse, this is made in a good way?
Yeah. So it's all encompassing. So, the fact that Yodomo is a place that I can go to, is local, I speak to the people, that's one element of it. I then take those fabrics and then I walk a few extra minutes to a tailor that I'm working with locally as well, who is very skilled in crafting and and is putting the time to be skilled at his craft. And then at the very, very end is my digital and online process where I'm telling the story. But for me, it's all about people. It's all about in the age that we are. But again, because I started in the pandemic, I just didn't like the fact that there was too much technology involved in my process, and I've just tried to make sure I've involved people and building relationships along the way. That's what I've prioritized, and I'm going to continue to prioritize that, and that's what's important to me, to be honest with you.
And I think what I'm curious about is that you come from a background of content creation.
Yes.
So how have you changed your content? Have you done something interesting to let people know? Have you built that into your brand values? And how does that translate to your customers?
Sure. Well, when I started, it wasn't called content creation. So that's the first thing. I've done things where I've had to adapt to just the way things are today. But for me, I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I'm also a cinematographer. And storytelling is what's important to me. That's just the core of it. That's the core of it. And also authentic storytelling, connecting with the truth. And I like to have truth in what I'm doing. And I want to be able to tell a good truth. So, making the right decisions before it's time to tell the story, it's all important to me. I don't want to, make up things for no apparent reason. It's about having a good story to tell, and want to tell good stories.
And in terms of your production, are you still very much make to order in terms of your business model?
As it stands, yeah, for sure. And I'm figuring out, how to scale. That's been a problem. I am a business. I need to make it possibility. Absolutely, for sure. And there's been interesting conversations whilst I've been at a source in terms of how we can adjust the minimum order quantity that is
Optimal.
Yeah, make it a bit more optimal. There's been some interesting things actually that people have said that how they've tried to disrupt that part of the industry. So I'm hoping to take advantage of some of those new ideas. But yeah, to scale it's been the one of the pain points. It's probably the pain point that I've been working on the longest, I suppose. In the journey so far, it's the part that's I still haven't quite found the best solution for me.
Okay.
I think it's important that we're at a time now where it's important that people do try to make it work for them in terms of, instead of doing things that they think is the right thing to do because everybody's talking about it, it's important that you and again, because I'm starting up, it's a luxury to me in the sense of I can figure it out as I'm going along. I don't have to retroactively change the way I've been doing things because I'm just starting out. So, yeah.
In terms of the way that you're planning to scale, you said it's your biggest challenge.
Yeah.
What is, and there's obviously a lot of challenge, but what is the one thing that you're finding really quite difficult? What's the one problem that you think if you could sort that actually a lot more things would start to click into place?
Do you know, it really is an ideology. That's really the way it is. That's what I've seen so far. It's been this way for so long that convincing every individual person one by one to try something different that's just really what it comes down to.
What do you mean by that? So what's, when you say ideology, is it in terms of people believe that they need to make 50 of an item or 100 of an item or 500 of an item and they're not willing to take those orders? Or is it getting hold of the stock in the quantities that you want so you can get it to the people who can produce that? Where has been the biggest roadblock?
So, all right, so the first obstacle is the first thing I've done is I've made, again, I'm learning on the way, mind you. So,
and I'm super curious because every startup's got their own journey, and actually where you're finding challenges, it will be the same for everyone else. So I think for me, I'm genuinely curious, where are your big roadblocks?
Sure. So the first thing I did that just made sense at the time was I worked with a tailor, and I asked him to help me make my jacket. And he had no problem with doing that. And now I thought, okay, I need to make several. It was too expensive to make several with the one tailor because it's, any person is handmade. So I therefore, all right, I need to work on a factory. The factory then required me to then produce a pattern that then could be multiplied to a tech pack. So now I've learned how to make a tech pack. I did a course in digital Gerber pattern making.
Yeah.
And that was actually fairly recent, actually. So now I have a tech pack. It's a matter of, all right, making it customizable and then making it so that I'm sure that this is going to be the one that I want to then
and if I can be honest,
produce.
I hear this from brands big and small and very big retailers. If you can optimize your tech pack, then actually you will save yourself a lot of trouble down the line. So when you say, actually, I've had to learn how to do that, everybody has to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But actually, even people who've been looking at it for a very long time still are tweaking and changing their tech packs.
Yes.
And it's something, if you're not involved in fashion manufacturing, you would know about.
Yeah.
But it's all about optimizing the minimal waste, making sure that you're producing things as optimally as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's a phrase that we want to start using. It's about optimal quantities, optimal processes, not a minimum or a maximum, but what's right for you.
Sure. But when I started, Shopify was like, again, it was during the pandemic and it was easy. You upload your designs, they send you the sample, you order as much as you want when you want them. And however, it wasn't as artistic as I needed it to be. And then now working with a factory, the more artistic you are, the more expensive it gets to make what you want to do. So it's about finding a middle range between still being an artist, but being able to adapt to the machine.
Yeah.
But also, machines need to be able to adapt to artists as well. And that's also the point. It's like, how do we get the machines to understand that we need to innovate and do something differently.
And your entire supply chain is based in East London, isn't it?
Yes, as it stands, yeah, for sure.
How important is it for you to try and keep your production there? Because I think the key to you being able to scale, and by the way, I'm going to give you some names of people to speak to because I think we can help you.
Thank you very much.
How important is it for you to keep that in Southeast London, or is it really just about making sure it's the right partner somewhere in the UK?
Yeah.
What is important to you in terms of where you do your production?
Yeah. So I was having this conversation just yesterday, actually. I did a consultation research piece with the Fashion Roundtable, and the research piece was on the effects of Brexit on the fashion industry. And
it's a minefield of a topic.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I contributed was, you can't buy champagne without going to Champagne.
Nope, Champagne.
And there is
France.
It comes from France, but it comes from an area called Champagne, and that's why it's a luxury product. that should be something, we're in Brexit happens, we want to add value to what it means to create local products and have a value because they're local. That would be the ideal. So all right, it's luxury because it comes from this particular region, you can't get it anywhere else, and therefore that's why there's a premium on how it's been made, and how much and the price points that come along with it. That to me is the ideal goal to me.
And I think one
And East London champagne, I guess.
East London champagne. Oh, I love that. But I think it's true, and I think where you will connect with where I hope you will connect with your customers is, I think, I'm always interested about whether or not customers are genuinely paying more for better products. And my gut feeling is that if you get your storytelling right, then actually they will. They understand it is local. So where have you had success with that? Is there a particular campaign or message or something that you feel actually that's really connected? I did that well.
So, hopefully I answer your question with this answer. So, one of my a social impact that I'm working on, which is also important to me, is homelessness, and also skills and employment for people who have lived experience of homelessness.
Okay.
And what that involves is doing upskilling workshops and arts programs to bring people into the creative industries also, and also championing neurodivergence in the creative industries, which is why also my production companies are interdisciplinary, because most people who are neurodivergent do multiple things, and it's a pain point and a problem for them to be forced to do one thing. So I want to also change that in terms of, all right, instead of people being forced to specialize in one particular area, how can we desire the creative industries? One, because it has to be done anyway, for a number of reasons. Technology is making everything more and more accessible, and AI is becoming a genius overnight, doing everything for everybody. Why can't we?
Creativity is human creativity.
There we go. And it's learning from us. So it's doing us better than us at this point. And the only thing stopping us is us. So let's be a bit more open to. I hope that answered the question.
So what I'm curious about is you've spoken there about a few different programs. It sounds like quite inspiring programs, actually.
Thank you.
And within those programs, are they the people who are producing your clothes? Are you using this as an example to extend the brand?
It's in that direction. So I am hoping to pair people who have experience with people who are starting out.
Okay.
And with masterclasses, and it's the people who have lived experiences of homelessness who are having the most difficult time breaking into the industry, and it also tends to be artists who are also having the most difficult time in finding their place where they can get economic and remunerate for what they're doing. And there's always a reason as to why talented people don't quite get the foot in, although they need to. I'm also speaking from lived experience as well. I've also dealt with homelessness myself, so it's
It sounds like a really special ecosystem that you're building.
Yes, hopefully.
But I think, again, from knowing what I know with brands and retailers that have really succeeded, the ones that are building the community and are more than just a product are the ones that thrive.
Yes.
So I think, again, it's great to hear that actually your business is getting there, and actually you're at a stage where you really want to start scaling up.
Yes.
So we'll definitely point you in the direction of a few people that can help with that, or at least help point you in the direction of people that you can really partner with for your manufacturing, can do what you need to do. And actually we know a few people in East London that maybe be able to help as well. Hopefully we know some different people to you.
That's all good.
But as well as that, we've seen some great manufacturers that could help York and Leicester as well.
Yeah.
So some really fantastic hubs. And obviously, please do go speak to the Fashion Enter ladies, because they do, they're heavily involved with the Fashion Retail Academy, Fashion Design Academy.
Yes.
I'm going to get that wrong, and Jenny Holloway may murder me for it. But they do skills workshops as well, and they're always open to collaboration, and they're very generous with their time as well in terms of helping connect small brands and retailers that really want to produce in the UK and want to do it in the right way. And also, sustainability isn't just about product and profit. It's actually about business operations to sustain you in order to be able to grow and invest in the programs you care about as well.
Yeah. I also wanted to just leave with this. So me and a friend of mine went to the Ozzy Osbourne concert over the weekend, right? And and it was his, last
Concert with
Black Sabbath, and there were fans who were outside the stadium who came because they didn't want to miss it. And they were wearing t-shirts that they bought 10, 15, 20 years ago because it mattered to them, because they thought, what, this is somebody that we care about. And that brand loyalty is something that is, I think, maybe it's overlooked in the sense of people need to also have real connections to what they're buying and why they're spending their money. And maybe I think fashion gets that a bit wrong sometimes in terms of the connections that they're building with people.
Because from talking to you, you're also building a repair side into the business as well.
Yes.
So that if somebody buys one of your pieces and you've got them behind you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
It gives you a bit of a plug.
Appreciate it. Cool.
But they are built to last, and actually from feeling it, these are things that are good quality. And I think one thing that's really important for brands to consider, and I think most brands are, it's just how they make it work from a profitability perspective. And I think that's where smaller brands do it really well. But building in the resale the reuse and the repair means that those community of customers are coming back to you. And interestingly, when you were talking about dead stock, is I can see where this has come from. And I think that's a story to tell as well. It's getting the overproduction and the things that are sitting there and sitting in warehouse back into use. I don't know if you're happy for me to show it.
Absolutely.
So this is a Puma t-shirt that has been obviously come through recycle, and it's actually been reprinted and altered for your brand. So again, it's taking dead stock and it's pushing it into a business that's looking to produce from waste, and it's creating work for British manufacturers. It's a great story.
Yes, thank you very much.
You are. Jordan, thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining us.
Absolutely.
We'll link on the podcast to your business, so please, obviously we've got your details. But thank you for sharing some of your story, and thank you. I think it's really great for us to have an example of a startup brand that is really looking to use waste and isn't afraid to. But it's also, when we talk about British manufacturing, like working with small brands like yours to grow is such a no-brainer. It's where we should be focusing as a manufacturing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And hopefully all the small businesses can also, get the same sort of opportunities, to be fair. I think innovation is going to come from the ground upwards in terms of how we're going to fix some of these issues, instead of begging the bigger brands to just change their ways. It's just not enough.
Can't turn a tank. Well, no, you can turn tankers, and some of the very big brands are trying to do that very slowly. But I think the innovation has always come from smaller businesses and people who see different ways to solve problems. And sometimes when you've been in an industry for 20 years, it's difficult to reimagine that.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jordan.
Amazing.
Speak to you soon.
Yes, absolutely.